Miss G here at the South Branch Library in Breckenridge, and I'm so excited to be back with you today to do another science experiment. First things first, as always, I want to start to remind you why I'm not wearing a mask today. I am in the J room here at the South Branch. The door is locked and nobody's filming me, it's just me. Please wear a mask when you need to, and let's get started. This month's Tinker Tot kit is all about science, gummy bear science. As you see in your bag, you have 8 gummy bears. Please do not eat them. They will all be used in this experiment, hopefully. So we're actually going to be testing 7 of those gummy bears to see what happens when we leave them in a liquid either overnight. You can leave them for the day when you leave for school in the morning and come back in the afternoon. You can do what I did and leave them in there for 24 hours for a whole day. But basically, we're going to test how big they get. So before we get started, let's talk about water and what usually happens. Water is what we call a solvent. You don't have to remember that word. I'm going to explain it. A solvent is when, how should I explain this? When you put something in water, usually after a while, it'll start to dissolve or disappear. Basically, with gummy bears, that is not what happens. It is the exact opposite. Gummy bears either stay the same or they get really big. So our experiment today is to find out which type of water we make is going to make the biggest gummy bear. Now that we know what we are doing today with our gummy bear science, we are going to set up our experiment. So you have 8 gummy bears in your bag and a worksheet. This worksheet we will do next, but for now, let's set up our gummy bears. So take one of those gummy bears, give him a name, put him off to the side on a shelf in a cabinet, somewhere where you're not going to want to eat him, and you're going to have him ready at the very end when we're all done. So at the end, we want to compare that gummy bear to all our other gummy bears to see how big they grew, if they shrunk, anything like that. But basically, we need a regular gummy bear to compare to. So save him. Then we have, if we had 8 gummy bears, I don't know who's counting, and we took away 1, how many gummy bears do we have left to experiment on? Yes, if you said 7, you are correct. So we're going to need 7 cups. Any size, doesn't matter. Grab those cups and grab those 7 gummy bears, and we will talk about which science ingredients I chose, and we'll find some stuff for you to choose today as well. So the science experiment ingredients that I picked for my gummy bear science were sugar, and I just put a little bit of sugar on the bottom, actually a lot of sugar on the bottom, filled the rest of the cup up with water, and then I did the same with salt. I filled a good amount of salt on the bottom and poured water to the top. Then I found a soda in the fridge that nobody was going to drink, so I used Sprite for one of my gummy bears, excuse me, and I did white vinegar I found under the sink, filled that right up to the top. The baking soda I found was super cool. I recommend that if you have it. That's a good one. And I put some on the bottom of the cup and then filled the rest with water. And then the last one I found, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I found some vegetable oil, so I decided to give that a try. All right, so now that we know we have 7 gummy bears and you've seen my ingredients, you can either pick the same ones, you can do some of them. Like I said, I recommend picking at least 3 of them, just so you can kind of see some different results with your gummy bears. And go ahead and set up those cups and get them ready. And remember, that last gummy bear, do not use him yet. And yeah, come back in a sec when you're ready to go, and I will drop our gummy bears in. So we are about to drop in our gummy bears and start our experiment. Take note of what time it is and write that down at the top of your worksheet that I gave you. It should be in there. Make sure your cups are labeled before you do, and make sure those cups are off to the side of the kitchen or in a window somewhere where they won't get bumped for the next day or so. And grab a marker and let's fill out that worksheet. How it works is, next to each of the question marks, you're going to see a line, kind of like where you would normally write your name on a school paper. But instead, on each of those, you're going to write down which liquid you chose, whether it was hopefully regular water, then maybe salt water, sugar water, soda, whatever it is. If you didn't choose all 7, that's okay. If you only chose 3, that's okay too. Whatever you chose, write them down, and that blank space underneath each line is going to be where we compare our original teddy bear that we put away, gummy bear, sorry, and our hopefully huge gummy bear that will be in this experiment. Now, let's take a break for you to fill that out. Our last thing to do is to come right back and see how mine turned out, and then we're done. And then we'll just see how yours turned out. All right, be back in a sec. So I actually just pulled my gummy bears out. They've been in their liquids for about a day. Remember, you can leave it in just when you're gone for the day. You can leave it in overnight. You can leave it in for 2 days. You can leave it in forever long you want. But personally, I think 1 day is the perfect amount of time. So I'm going to put up the picture of my worksheet now. That same worksheet that we put all the names of our liquids on, I actually picked out the gummy bears from the cup with a spoon, put them on a paper towel. Some of them were super squishy. Some of them were humongous. Some of them were kind of slimy. Some of them are blobbier than others. They don't really look like gummy bears anymore. One of them, nothing really happened to. I don't know, kind of how science works. But as you can see on my sheet here, next to each of my now transformed, experimented on gummy bears is a regular gummy bear. Now at this point, you probably only have that one leftover gummy bear. That's okay. Just put him next to all your other ones and see how big all the other ones got or not. So on the back of that worksheet, if you want, I challenge you to write down 2 things you think will happen in this experiment. Tell me which one you think will get to be the biggest and which one you think nothing will happen to. And then when you pull all your gummy bears out tomorrow, wow, what was that word? When you pull all of your gummy bears out tomorrow, see what happens. See if you were right or wrong. That's kind of how science works. We make what are called a hypothesis or questions, and then we see how it goes. So keep an eye on those gummy bears. See how they do. Give them all some names, and fill out that worksheet so you're ready to go when you pull them out. And good luck. I hope they are as huge as mine are, and I hope you guys had so much fun doing gummy bear science with me today. And stay tuned for next Tinker Tots. Have an awesome rest of your May, guys. Bye.